Painkiller Ghosts, Chapter 27, A Funeral with Empty Prescriptions, Part 2 of 2. Now it's now, and this is how it is. Stan Thimble, whose left nostril has finally stopped bleeding, has not found a job, and he has not run out of painkillers either. He went to the doc in a box and got a new prescription, all the while trying to get the nurse's phone number. But now he sits at his kitchen table. He takes 2 pills and crushes them, gets a banana, unpeels it, and rolls it around the pile of crushed pills. And then he proceeds to eat it as he drinks his coffee and unrolls the newspaper. It's an older paper from a day or two ago. He casually flips through the Metro section, and as he turns to the obituaries, his eyes focus on Suzanne's picture. And he chokes a bit on his coffee, spits some out on the floor, and then starts coming back out of his nose, burning his nose, and he reads it 2 times, 3 times, and then he cries. He loathed her, he might have loved her, but how he wanted her. He finishes pill-encrusted banana and wishes he still had his cell phone. He pours himself another cup of coffee and goes to take a shower, where he cries some more. When he comes out and dries off, he feels that warmth feeling starting in his stomach. He starts to get dressed for the funeral. He's not going to the service. He's decided that's too risky. He may run into some of the twits he used to work with, or Suzanne's crazy parasitic son. Chastity is driving there, to the graveside, also after skipping the service at the funeral home. Time, too, skips the service. He couldn't bear to go. He stands at the grave, that deep, open pit, and he rubs 3 pennies together in his pocket, while Aaron, really his only friend, holds his hand to try to comfort him. The ground is cold. He imagines his mother shivering in her casket, yelling out that she's not dead, that she's not ready to go, but she's dead all right, and he knows it. He saw a picture of the car, head first into the tree. The insurance company took the photo, and he knew it was a fast death. Face first into the spider-webbed glass, the glass breaking her neck. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Eyes are tearing up behind his scratched sunglasses, the one he used to use to hide his narcotic-dazed eyes. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and before he knows it, it's all over. It seems to last all day, but it also seems to have just started. Aaron held his hand, and she was crying the whole time too. And then comes the real blitz, the real confusion. People are coming up and hugging him, shaking his hand, putting their hands on his shoulder, talking about Suzanne, his mama. And he can barely hear them. He cannot respond. He'd break down and become ashes to ashes and dust to dust himself. He nods and he tries to smile. He lets the tears run down his cheeks into his beard. And that's when Aaron starts clutching his hand so hard that he feels a crack of bone. It's his hurt hand, his bad hand, and still Aaron doesn't let go. He glances at her through the dark, scratched lenses of the sunglasses and can see that something's wrong. She's staring over towards the old part of the cemetery, 30 yards away. Time sees what she's looking at. A man. The one in the dark suit, leaned up against the tall monument. Time knows him. He drops her hand. He walks away mid-sentence from a woman giving him her condolences, and he starts walking from Mama's graveside, from Mama in her casket, and both of his hands are in fists, and he starts to increase his pace as he crosses the graveyard. Time never says a thing. He's running now in his walking shoes, sockless, with his fists out. Stan, also not saying a thing, does not recognize Time until he's too close. And Stan's first instinct is to smile. He does not recognize Time. which seems like a bad idea until a split second later, and he instinctively raises his hands to protect his bandaged nose. It's the same time that Time's right fist makes contact with Stan's hands held up in front of his nose, and Time's fist and both of Stan's hands are thrust into Stan's broken nose, and he screams. And before he's fallen onto his back, the bandage that was white when he got out of the car is turning red. Stan's on his back between two graves saying, "No, no." And then Time kicks him in the groin and spits onto Stan's face, and then raises his left foot over Stan's face and says, "Go away before I crush your nose again." Stan tries to get up, falls, tries successfully again, and then he walks towards his car as fast as he can. He takes a look to his left and sees Time slowly following him. To his right, he sees some of the people he used to work with at that online magazine looking over at him, shaking their hands and avoiding eye contact. Time watches Stan walk off, hunched over a little bit from pain, holding his left nostril, and when he gets in the car, he flips Time the middle finger and then drives off, tires tossing rocks from the gravel road in the cemetery. Time already feels better, feels good. He's walking back to the graveside where Aaron is waiting for him, and a woman walks up to him, seemingly from out of nowhere. She's been hiding behind one of the graves, the hiding girl, and he recognizes her. She says, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your mother. I'm sorry I shot you." All he can do right now is say, "Yeah," and more tears roll into his beard, and then she turns and walks off, and he walks towards Aaron without stopping, and he says, "Please take me home now." Aaron makes sure that Stan's car is out of the cemetery before she goes up to her car, opening the passenger side door for Time, and then walks around to the driver's side as she gets in. She turns on the car and looks in the mirror as the car warms up, and she sees Chastity behind them, watching Aaron and Time sit in the car. Aaron looks over at Time. "Are you all right?" He nods. "Are you sure?" "I'll be okay soon." She starts to drive slowly and then says to him, "Stan scares me." "Me too. I've had dreams at night about him. Bad dreams." Time nods. "Me too."